Coming up on Focus on Sports, a change at the helm after the Mountain West basketball tournament.
Plus, we see how some of the Bulldog teams performed in their conference debuts.
And some Fresno State stars from the gridiron look to catch scouts' eyes here in Fresno. Your Focus on Sports starts now.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Focus on Sports. I'm Ricky Oakes.
I'm Ethan Mata.
And I'm Ador Berzamina. Fresno State entered Las Vegas as underdogs heading into the rematch against the Wyoming Cowboys. That's the team that decimated the Dogs in the Save Mart Center just 4 days earlier. But the Dogs look like a completely new team. They converted on high percentage shots this time around, including 32 points in the paint. And even though 36 points got drained from beyond the arc by the Mountain West top three-point team, the Dogs got rebounds with the return of Enoch Boachi. Senior Isaiah Pope helped Fresno State get the revenge to head to the next round.
Which led to a dangerous game on Thursday against the number one team in the conference, Utah State. The Dogs battled the 18th best team of the conference once again, and similar to their matchup at the Save Mart Center in February, the game went into overtime after a back-and-forth affair. But the Dogs simply ran out of gas and the wheels fell off in the 75-87 loss, bouncing them out of the tournament and the season.
After the game came a little bit of a shocker. Head coach Justin Hudson announced that it was his last game as head coach. With Hudson's contract expiring next month, he said it was a mutual agreement between him and the administration to part ways. He will remain on in a consulting role. Hudson went 92-94 in his 6 years at Fresno State, failing to make the NCAA tournament. Now, with Hudson being gone, who will be the next coach to lead the basketball team? Does the team go with someone with experience? Or do we bring in Valley talent, but with someone who has never necessarily led a team before? Mata, let's start with you.
For me, I'm going with Andy Newman, the head coach of Cal State Northridge. He used to be on the Bulldog staff from 2002 to 2003. He's familiar with the area. He also took over that Northridge program when they had 14 losing seasons consecutively before he got there. His first year there, they went 19-15. The reason I think this is important because over the last 6 years, Fresno State has only won more than 13 basketball games twice under Hudson's watch.
And then for my pick, I'm honestly going more towards like the Valley home route. Quincy Pondexter is the name that I'll pick because Washington State's assistant coach, even though he doesn't have the head coaching experience, all great head coaches before had to start somewhere. And what better place than in your hometown, right?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. Like, Quincy has been on my eye for the past 3 months. Like, someone born and raised in and went to San Joaquin Memorial, then went to Washington and also found success in the NBA as well. But do keep in mind, even though I think he could bring in talent from a place like Clovis North or St. Joseph's, this school wants someone with 5 years of coaching experience. So that's when you have someone on my radar like Ryan Miller, the Creighton assistant coach. He's been a part of a very successful program at Creighton, and I think he could bring that success here. Now, let's go ahead and move on, as after a show-stopping Mountain West tournament with the New Mexico Lobos claiming the tournament crown, Selection Sunday showed where the teams will be playing in the Big Dance. Mountain West had 6 teams making their way into the NCAA tournament, tied for the third most amongst all conferences and most among mid-major teams. Boise State and Colorado State will play in the first 4 games in Dayton starting tomorrow. Nevada begins the tournament on Thursday with San Diego State, New Mexico, and Utah State starting their runs on Friday.
Let's talk football now. Spring ball began last week, but today some former Bulldogs made one last impression. It's Pro Day. 11 players, including captains Lavelle Bailey and Johnny Hudson Jr., had a chance to perform in front of 11 NFL scouts. These workouts consisted of combine drills as well as individual skill showcases.
On to baseball now. Fresno State made their way to the Silicon Valley this past weekend to take on the defending conference champions and preseason favorite San Jose State. The 3-day series was a test for the team, as this team has yet to drop a series this year. The Dogs found the bats working in Game 1. They put up 13 hits, including 3 from Tommy Hopfe, resulting in the 9-6 victory in Game 1.
Game 2 of the series was a different story. The Dogs were shut down through 8 innings, but showed life in their last at-bats, putting up a 2-run rally before a controversial play would end the inning and the game. The Dogs lost Game 2, 2-4.
This resulted in a rubber match for Game 3 Sunday. Fresno State started the game with an early lead backed up by good pitching from Jack Anchor. However, he got pulled in a rocky sixth inning, his first no decision of the year after San Jose tied the game. The bats then came to life for the Dogs after a homer from Stransky in the 7th and a 3-run bomb from Mirth Gray in the 8th. That was enough to get the Dogs the series in San Jose.
Hitting the pool now, water polo was now back on Saturday to continue the conference play against the 23rd ranked San Diego Aztecs. Fresno State improved to 14-5 on the year and 2-0 in the conference, with the commanding 15-7 win over the Aztecs. The Dogs were led by Haley Andres, Cynthia Rosa, and Brooke Ochoa, who had 5 points apiece. The team also had a whopping 16 steals. Ochoa spoke after the game about the team's chemistry and their ability to create havoc for their opponents.
Honestly, our defense is just trusting each other, knowing that if I hear someone calling something behind me, I can trust that it's the right thing. We're all on the same page.
The 6th-ranked Bulldogs continued Golden Coast Conference play this coming Saturday down at south at Loyola Marymount. The match begins at noon.
Coming up, tennis returns to the Valley with the start of Mountain West play.
Plus, how softball performed in Reno against one of the hottest bats in the nation.
And we award our top dogs of the week when we return.
I got the bulldog spirit up in my head.
Up in my head. Up in my head. I got that bulldog spirit. Up in my head. Up in my head to say. I got that bulldog spirit. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Got that bulldog spirit. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart to stay. I got that bulldog spirit. Down in my toes. Down in my toes. Down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit. Down in my toes. Hey. Down in my toes to stay. I got that bulldog spirit. Up in my head. Deep in my heart. Down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit. All over me. All over me to stay. I got that bulldog spirit.
Deep in my heart.
Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. I got that bulldog.
Welcome back to your Focus on Sports. After spending 2 weeks away from Spalding G. Wathen Tennis Center, the women's tennis team made its way back to Fresno with the start of Mountain West play against Utah State. The Dogs looked to stop a 4-game losing streak. The Dogs claimed the double set with a 6-3 victory on Court 2 and a 6-4 victory on Court 4. The ladies sealed the deal in singles as Carolina Peferi, Charlotte Gislon, and Misaki Kobayashi won their matches in 2 sets, claiming a 4-0 sweep over the Utah State Aggies. The Dogs will be back at home for their next 2 matches.
The softball team had a strong showing in the Bulldogs Classic and was looking to continue that success heading into a series in Reno to start Mountain West play. Nevada, however, showed why they are one of the best hitting teams in the nation. The Wolfpack, who are 10th in the nation in batting average, put up 14 runs on Friday, 10 on Saturday. In the 3rd game of the series, Taylor Gilmore calmed down the Wolfpack. She only allowed 4 runs. The pitching, along with 2 hits and 2 stolen bases from leadoff hitter Natalie Elias, helped earn the Dogs a win on Sunday, 7-4.
With all of last week's events, let's go into what's coming this week for Fresno State Athletics. Men's golf will be at the Palma Valley Invitational today and tomorrow, while women's golf will be in Hawaii at the Dr. Donis Thompson's Invitational. The Diamond Dogs return to Bob Bennett Stadium to take on Loyola Marymount. First pitch is set for 6:05. They will then have a 3-game home series against Air Force starting on Friday.
And Wednesday, softball will be back at home against the game against the Pacific Tigers. They then host Mountain West favorite San Diego State at Margie Wright Diamond for the weekend. Also at home will be women's tennis as they take on Air Force on Friday and New Mexico on Sunday.
And women's water polo look to get their 3rd Golden Coast win in a row as they take on Loyola Marymount at the Aquatic Center on Saturday. And finally, track and field will be competing in town for the West Coast relays.
The NFL season might be 6 months away, but eyes are still drawn in as the offseason has gotten fans glued to social media and notifications turn on for the latest transactions around the league. While teams like Devontae Adams' Raiders and the Dallas Cowboys have been silent, other teams have been hot on the market. playoff teams are stacking up their rosters even more, such as the Eagles bringing in Saquon Barkley and CJ Gardner-Johnson. Some teams are rebuilding, looking to provide weapons needed, such as the Bears bringing in DeAndre Swift and Keenan Allen. The window for free agents has been open for a little over a week, and teams are making themselves known. Who do you think is the team making the biggest splash right now, Adore?
All right. I'm going to pick the Ravens. Now, they lost Patrick Queen, a mean, really nice linebacker from which I do think is a big loss. But Derrick Henry is there. And even at this stage of his career, I think they're bringing back having a good running back field in the back to help Lamar Jackson out. And I think that'll really change things around when it's postseason time for that team.
Yeah, so for me, I'm picking the Packers. The youngest team in the NFL just continues to get younger. They've cut a lot of players that are older, leaning towards the back ends of the career, like Aaron Jones, David Bakatari, Darnell Savage, but they've only replaced them with younger studs like Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney, as well as re-signing some key free agents on their own team. So I think that Packers team, a lot to look forward into the future.
Yeah, and they got a bright future, and so do two other teams. We already talked about the Eagles. I mean, Fly Eagles Fly is about to become a no-fly zone with C.J. Gardner-Johnson in the backfield in the secondary. But honestly, the Falcons, they already got a young core, and now that they have a new head coach coming in and a new guy under center in Kirk Cousins, we'll see how that ACL performs. But other than that, that team is going to be deadly. And I think in a rough NFC South, they got potential to make a run.
Yeah,
We'll see.
The Dirty Birds. And finally, we cap things off with some baseball news. We are now 3 days away from the kickoff of the MLB season, but this time it's a little different. The season will begin not in the United States, but in Seoul, South Korea. The Los Angeles Dodgers will play the San Diego Padres, and you'll need to wake up early for this one. The first pitch is at 3 in the morning on Wednesday. They'll play 2 games there, return home to play 2 exhibition games, and then a week later, get back into season play.
Before we close out the show, let's honor our top dogs of the week. Adore, who are your shining stars?
All right, so for me, we got to go bring it back to the pool, the Aquatic Center. My Bulldog of the week is Haley Andress. Now, think about this. She is on the watch list for National Player of the Year, which matches akin to being the Heisman of water polo, right? So now we're looking at that. She's the fastest fastest player to get to 100 goals. And that is my Bulldog of the week. What a week she's having. How about you guys?
Yeah, for me, my top dog representing baseball this week is Murph Gray, former Mountain West player, or freshman of the year, to say. In the final matchup against that series with the Spartans, Gray secured the game in the 8th inning with his home run that also secured 3 runners into home plate. That was a really close game. They were 3-2 up until that point. He made it 6-2, and the Diamond Dogs won the series against the Spartans 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. Like, Gray, he's on a hot streak right now, able to hit home runs in back-to-back weeks. For me, though, I'm a tennis guy. I played tennis for 4 years in high school. I got to bring it back to the courts. Charlotte Gislon, the number 3 player for the women's tennis team, a 6-4 win in doubles, and then finished with a quick, and I mean quick sets in her singles match, going 6 for 2 in set number 1, then a 6-1 finish on court number 3. You can't ask for anything better when you're playing tennis. But I got one more nominee here. One more top dog, rather, but he's not a student athlete. He's rather a classmate of our own. 1 week ago, one of our students made this bet on live TV.
My dark horse to win this thing is New Mexico Lobos. Great guard play all around, a fast team, a fun team to watch as a fan. And really, they have a coach in Richard Pitino, who's son to the legend basketball coach Rick Pitino. So I think they're going to be ready to go. Like I said, they've got a lot of steals on defense. Just a very fun team to watch, especially for the viewers at home.
And I mean, it says enough right here. My man called it with New Mexico making the Mountain West tournament, a team on the bubble, guaranteed a spot in. But before we close things out, guys, real quick, what's your guys' watch for the NCAA tournament?
I'm rolling with Jackson's pick, the Lobos, baby. I think they can go all the way.
Yeah, I'm going with the historic UNC. I think they take it.
For me, I'm not looking forward to what's to come at the end. I'm looking forward to the first round. I think Samford, a high-paced offense, is going to shut down the Big 12 powerhouse in Kansas. That's my pick.
Samford got shooters, too. But yeah, that's all the time we have for this week.
Remember, we will keep you updated on our regular newscast this Wednesday at 4 o'clock.
As for this broadcast, we'll see you after spring break to bring you more with your focus on sports.